The FNRad Snowboard podcast is sponsored by Wired Snowboards from Vancouver, BC. I got to try out a Vantage 158 wired carbon nightmare, as Rob calls it, because he was working with carbon all year trying to get a properly pressed, flat-based board, and the tension in the top sheet kept cupping the base. But he's figured it out, and I got to tell you, this board rides amazing at high speeds. Super stable, no chatter. It's stiffer than what I usually ride, and that takes some getting used to at slower speeds, which I do actually ride slow a lot of the time. But yeah, opening it up on that thing was rad. So thanks to Rob for letting me try that out. You guys should all go to wiredsnowboards.com and check out the new stuff that they've got up there. Also, you can buy wired boards if you want to just go and grab one today at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop in Vancouver and in North Van. TheBoardroomShop.com is a great place to go for all your snowboarding needs. Support for the show also comes from Anon Goggles. Thanks to Steve and Jonathan for hooking the show up. My kids are riding them. I'm riding them. Unbelievable optics. I love my Anon goggles. I love the magnetic lenses. It's pretty awesome. Thanks a lot to DeKine for supporting the show all season. That was rad. Tribute Board Shop in Nelson, BC. Those guys are the best. Go check that out. Vans Snowboarding Boots. Cannot say enough good about Vans, the company itself. Their boots are epic. Their shoes are amazing. Vans is just a great company. I want to thank Crow's Nest Barbershop and Grouse Mountain, the peak of Vancouver. That's where we were last night. Got to ride with my good friend Artie. No racing, just hanging out, hitting jumps. And they've got 2 killer parks still going. It's well into April. Stoked to get a pass from Grouse this year. Thanks, you guys. All right, let's go to the show.
It was a totally fun time. Didn't get too gnarly.
I kind of look at the Mystery Air as an improved evolution of the Switchblade.
Snowboarding is ours.
And obviously I like working with Burton.
As an old school snowboarder, you get so used to being treated as a second-class citizen.
And I was like, how do you spell your last name? He said Kelly. And I was like, oh, we should get married. And he's like, no, too symmetrical.
Craig McMorris has been snowboarding since he was 11 years old. He's had a crazy good competitive career competing in slopestyle for the Canadian national team. And his film, We Tried, was a really great watch. I went to the premiere at the beginning of this year, and it was epic. Really fun movie. He's also become a commentator for ESPN, and he called all the snowboarding events for the Winter Olympics in 2018 for CBC, which is Canada's national television channel. He's one of the youngest guests I've had on the show, and if he's any indicator of how polite and cool this generation of snowboarders is, then, you know, snowboarding's in good hands. All right.
I love putting the cans on. I love the way it sounds. It's just like, okay, it's go time.
Yeah, when we were at Sean Johnson's place, and his kid came home, and his kid was just like, you know, transitioning. And sometimes when kids transition, they're like, I don't want to be here. I want to still be at the park or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hey, you should come and listen to your voice. And then she just got in there and was like instantly mesmerized by her own voice, which was awesome.
It's hard not to be. That's funny.
Yeah.
How old is she now?
She's 4.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know even where to start. Like, you are such a different generation of snowboarder than I am.
That's what I was thinking about this all day, and I was just thinking, I'm like, whenever I listen to your podcast, I think like I'm getting educated, because as much as you try to know about a generation before yourself, if you weren't in it, you'll never really understand it. You can hear stories and you can piece together stuff. You can watch video parts, magazines, everything, but you never really understand it. So it's really, really cool hearing firsthand. Your Craig Kelly episode was great, because I think I know Craig Kelly, and I think I know what he did, and I think I know the people that he influenced, because he influenced so many people that I know. But when you hear it from their mouths and you piece it together, like, that's so cool. So it's educational for me, but we're just I just know so many snowboarders that you don't know, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's true. So where are you? Let's start at the beginning. Like, right. I know where you're from, right?
Yep.
Saskatchewan?
Yep. Regina, Saskatchewan.
Regina.
Yeah.
And like, I've been through Regina. There's a big giant sky there. I didn't notice any hills.
Zero.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you snowboard, which is a gravity sport, in a place where there's just no hills?
I mean, it's just like you do the thing that's probably the hardest for yourself to do, right? But you love it the most, right? That's why you love it, because you don't get to do it all the time. It's such a treat. Like, that becomes an honor, you know?
Yeah.
If you get to do something every day, especially when you're a kid, for me, play hockey,
Yeah.
you know? And it became like really competitive, and I didn't really like it at the end.
Right.
So I quit to go snowboarding because that was a treat. That was something I couldn't do all the time. So you always do something that you love, and I love snowboarding, and I kind of like did everything, jump on the trampoline, wakeboard, did a little bit of skateboarding when I was a little bit older and stuff like that to do it. So it just felt natural for, you know, Mark and myself to like push ourselves in snowboarding the most.
Wakeboarding would be what I would guess, because there's going to be lakes up there.
So
like
many
crazy,
lakes,
right?
yeah.
And then what about skateboarding? Was there a good skate park that you guys got to... And let's say it right off the bat, like, it's got to be tough for you having a brother that is in the limelight as much as he is, you know, like Canada's golden boy and stuff. But when I was talking with with Ken Ock way back in season 1, when he was talking about McMorris, he was talking about you. Like, when he was talking about seeing kids that he was proud of that had come through camp, he naming off names. He named off Craig McMorris, and I was like, that must be Mark's brother. And at that point, I made a conscious effort to be like, okay, let's see, where's this guy? What puts him on Ken's radar?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know why, because I think me and Mark went. Maybe I was at camp 1 year before Mark, but then I remember the first year that Mark came to camp, because I went with O'Neill, and I don't think he was there. Mm-hmm. Then he came maybe the year after, and he really lit it up, and that was fun to watch. Mm-hmm. Kevin Sansalone was filming him, doing some follow cams and stuff like that.
Rad.
But yeah, I've been chilling. It's funny that you say that, because it's like I love it. You know, like, I like the spotlight. I do. I like snowboarding. I like commentating. I like doing all that kind of stuff. But having a brother that's in it as well, obviously way more fame than me, has taught me so much. You know, we're really close in age, only 2 years. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's not my little brother. He's just like my brother, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm bigger and can beat him up still, but yeah, who's counting?
Yeah. How far did the competition go between the two of you? Like, have you always been his biggest fan? And have you always been like, he came with you on all the trips and all that sort of stuff?
It was the opposite of that, actually. So we were competing in wakeboarding when we were younger, and then Max Hano, the O'Neill team manager, really liked his wakeboarding and knew that he snowboarded. So then when Mark was like in grade 9, I think he was like just starting high school, he got to go live with Max in Quebec and train, or like not train, but like he got to go ride like contests and stuff like that. So he got a lot of jumping stuff. So we since we were young, we don't even get to go on that many trips together, you know, which is
right.
kind of trippy to think about, because you think we'd be traveling all the time together and stuff like that. But it was like really different paths to come into snowboarding.
Yeah.
He had the O'Neill kind of side, and then I was sponsored by O'Neill a little bit, but I wasn't going on as many trips. And then I would tag along when I could and stuff like that. But
what boards were you guys riding?
Ooh, Class 5 snowboards. James Friedrich made them in Regina.
Whoa.
He was an engineer, so talented, and he was like he was an amazing sponsor. Like, he took me to Whistler.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore, but he would just like make boards in this little shop he had in Regina, and they were really solid boards. So he's the man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Cool shout out.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to make this a like you and your brother podcast. This is just you.
Absolutely. But you can make it a me and my brother podcast, because I love talking about Mark. Like, at the end of the day, like, different paths and all that kind of stuff. But I'm so fortunate, because we're going through this kind of like, I don't know, careers or whatever you want to call it, with somebody that knows you better than you know yourself, and vice versa for me to Mark, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like crazy to see, like, when we both do something different and we talk about it, it's like you've already done that.
Right.
Does that make, it's really weird. Yeah. But I really like it, because it educates you so much.
It's cool, because a lot of brothers, especially that are, no, that's not true. I can think of a lot of brothers that are competitive in the same sport, that they just get along really well, you know? But I mean, most of the brothers I know in real life, they don't get along that well, especially with a 2-year gap. There's going to be, you know, the older brother going like, fuck off, you know, don't follow me.
Yeah.
Go do your own thing.
Yeah.
Stop trying to get on my tip. You
And
know?
I think I think when we were younger, I was like that. It was always like, oh, I got to drive Mark around and do all that kind of stuff. Like when I got my license, but he just was so gnarly. He just always pushed himself and was always like hanging and like could do stuff better than me, you know? So it was like such a competition in terms of like pushing each other, but not in terms of like, oh, like I dislike you, you know? Like at the end of the day, like we still have mutual respect for each other and love each other when we were that young. And obviously as you get older and mature, that grows more and more. And I've never loved him more.
Ah, that's sick, dude. That's really cool. So where do you first get sponsored, and how does that come about? Is it like through regional contest series kind of thing?
Yeah, it was through the board shop Off Axis in Regina. And then Class 5 Snowboards was like the big one. They were giving us free snowboards and stuff like that. And then it was like, I gotta stop saying like, I say like way too much whenever I have cans on. It was Russell Davies. He started this thing called the SAS Snowboard Team. And what that was a ride out to COP once a month in the wintertime, which is 8-hour drive. So he would pick all these guys up in Saskatchewan. We'd bomb out Thursday night, ride all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then drive back Sunday night. Like 16 hours of driving once a month. Like he was such a beast. And I owe everything to him because he got us on the mountain. He got us in the park. He got us doing all that kind of stuff. So with James Friedrich at Class 5, with Russ Davies doing all the snowboard stuff, like that's how it kind of came together. And then obviously my dad and mom, like so much support there. We had like this bi-level backyard, and my dad built like a 6-foot drop-in ramp, and we would just ride that every single day in the winter. I even remember one time, it hadn't snowed yet, but we got the pressure washer out and just sprayed mist up into the air because it was so cold. Didn't really work. It just made ice over everything, but like that was the drive. We wanted it so bad.
Was there footage of this stuff? Like, would I have seen backyard setups from you guys, or was that before you were even on anybody's radar?
We made our own little edits kind of like all the time.
I feel like I saw them.
Like Facebook, when Facebook was kind of coming out, we'd always post like just random, like just garbage edits. But at the time, it was like everything to us. We'd just try any single trick onto this rail that was pretty flat, and you could just get absolutely lit up.
Right. And so this is that obsession, that thing that you see kids doing at that age where just over and over again you're hitting rails or whatever features you build in your yard.
Exactly.
And then getting to take that to the big mountain with a 16-hour weekend drive.
Yeah, but that's the thing for me and Mark especially, was we were so lucky because we grew up being from Saskatchewan. There's not like people that are pros and like this is the step, this is like the path that you take. It was us looking online, you know, watching Transworld Snowboarder and being like, there's kids our age like doing these crazy tricks, and we just have like Mission Ridge, which is a little ski resort 45 minutes away from our house, and we have this backyard setup. We just have limited access, but we're seeing what people can do, so we know that we can attain it eventually. That was like kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. And then just watching like in the back of the minivan, we watched Mac Dogs follow me around, I think 100,000 times. No, I don't know. Maybe 500,000 times. Yeah, but like so many times. So we had all this stuff that we could watch, and there was a goal at the end of the day, but we just like couldn't do it yet.
Where was the start? Like what's the first video that you remember seeing that kind of sparked that interest, or would it have been, you know, an online edit? That's still a little early for that, right? Like
no, there was tons of online edits. For me, the first video. Do you mind if I shut the fridge off?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's hit that.
You asked a great question about the first video that we saw.
Yeah, the first thing that you remember, like, because I can remember for me, if I'm like, there was this point before I saw Snowboarders in Exile and after, and it was like a summer afternoon, and my buddy was like just back from San Diego, and he's like, you've got to see this.
Yep.
Because it's not like anything that we've ever watched before. Everything before that was kind of goofy. And, you know, for some people, Snowboarders in Exile is kind of goofy, but it was so next level that we did that. We just watched it over and over and over. And by the time the winter came, I was like a full-on snowboarder.
This is my life now.
Yeah,
exactly. That's so cool. That everybody has that one thing. For Mark and myself, it was technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah.
Especially JP Walker's part.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Like, that was just so next level.
That's
and relatable a
Yeah.
little bit to us because we got to ride features that... We tried to ride features that mimic that in the park and stuff like that. So I think that's where we like really bit our teeth into that kind of thing. But Snowboarders in XL was yours, right?
Yeah, yeah. And there was a little bit of a lack of style in Snowboarders in XL, but the exact same thing. It was like, we can do this stuff if we go to these places. You know, there's a lot of big airs and just like straight drops and, you know, nobody really rotating over a 3 and then some double backflips. So we're like, oh yeah, if we had a powdery day, they're doing double backflips into powder.
Yeah.
They're not like, it's not like a shaped landing.
No.
It's just like a big bathtub that they're landing in. So we're like, we could probably do this. Like, let's start trying backflips kind of thing. So, I mean, I love the idea of J.P. Walker because his style stands out so much. And he was one of the first people to really embrace like a street-only part. Like, not only street-only part, because he was actually really good at jumps and
incredible in the backcountry.
At everything.
So talented.
But he really didn't skimp when it came to rail riding. And everything was just perfect, like where his hands were, you know. It was a pleasure to watch that. Even as someone who wasn't a rail guy, I was like, okay, if I could do it like that, I would definitely do it.
And as I've matured in my career, you think of how influential he was and how every single year, it wasn't like a year off. Like every single year he's coming heavy. He's got something to prove every single year. And like, that is the most admirable thing, because let's say you put in 3 years and you get a bunch of sponsors and this is your job and you're doing all this kind of stuff. You start thinking about different things than you thought at the start, right? Like, you're like, I just want to get sponsored. I want to do all these hard, gnarly tricks. But he was like, I'm already got that, but I'm still doing the craziest stuff. I'm still on the cutting edge. I'm still inventing tricks. Like, that is so admirable.
Yeah. Yeah, there's very few people that found a niche that they could actually stick with and not get totally broken off. And I know he's been hurt
many times, but came back stronger than ever, you know. And he's still boarding. Like, that's the other, like, he's still a beast, still a boss. Like, so much respect to JP Walker. He's such a boss. Agreed. Yeah, he's he makes the top 10 when you're talking about like all time top 10. Okay, can I just kind of diverge a little bit here? Who's your all time top 10?
God,
let's go top 5. Let's go top 5.
I'm gonna put Jamie Lynn in there because there's something about Jamie Lynn that inspired so many people that inspired me.
Yep.
That I could see it. Yep. And actually I got to see him just riding at Mount Baker.
Yeah.
No cameras, just like on a Jamie Lynn, you know, down day. And he was faster and going bigger than anyone I'd ever seen, with nobody watching except like he didn't know we were watching. I'm just going,
that's just the way he rides.
He's so good. He's so fast. So like I'm going to put a Jamie Lynn up there.
Okay.
I love Terrier for his stance on the Olympics and the fact that he's still where he is now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, it's such a tough one.
That was just a suicide question. I'm so sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool because I do admire Damien for how nice he is too. So like, if we're gonna round off, you know, 5 people, I've got 3 really good ones there, and oh God, maybe Guy Ruff, even though he he didn't do the podcast when I saw him at Baker.
Ooh.
Oh, it's fine.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
His style is so good. And like even his latest edit, I'm just like, that's what I love about him, is that he is completely in control in the backcountry.
Yep.
And he's got a good eye for transition and so none of these guys are really competitive guys except Terrier when he was a competitive guy. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to just round it off with Jess Camara, because going back and going through her catalog of the things that she did and the way that she did it, she embodies what a snowboarder is somebody that sees the system and says, that's not for me. I'm going to do it my own way. Yep. And I think that she continually does that.
That's what I was going to say. Continually, like, it's not like she started out and does her own thing and is like, you know, rested on her laurels.
Yeah.
She has just, I mean, uninvited. What a sick idea.
Yeah.
And you think like, oh, that's a sick idea, but then to execute it so well and like do all that kind of stuff and put in so much work, like, she deserves to be in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah. So how about you? Because that doesn't really span a huge amount of time, right? Most of those guys are from when I was really, really influenced by snowboarding, like where it was on the daily. I would be watching multiple videos at the shop or thinking about snowboarding a lot. And how about you? Like,
Well, that's the thing about this question. I feel like there's no wrong answer.
Right.
You know, like you can only answer to the generation that you know that well and people
Right.
that influence you. Like everybody's top 5 should be different, you know? Like
Oh, yeah, of
really,
course.
really should be.
Yeah.
For me, I got to put the top 3, Nicholas Mueller, Travis Rice, Mark McMorris.
Yeah.
Just because of exactly what you said. When they're riding and nobody's watching, they're going faster. They're
Yeah.
doing stuff way harder. Like it's just, you have to see it in person to really understand it, I think, right?
I agree with you there.
Yeah. So I think those 3, and I put Louis in there as well.
Oh, yeah, Louis.
Yeah.
for
No,
sure.
but there's no wrong answers. No wrong answers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Louis
Yeah,
in there for sure.
for sure. So Louis, that's 4, and then I got to find one. I think I recently watched the movie Lines.
Yeah.
It's like a backcountry movie. Travis showed it to me, and Victoria Jealous. I never know how to say her last name.
That's right, Victoria Jealous.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I met her.
I hope so.
Yeah.
She crushed it. She, back in the day, like, I feel like back then, it's hard to crack snowboarding right now. Very, very hard. It's very male driven, you know, like kind of like that. But back then, 10 times harder, and she was ripping so hard, like so hard. So such a good turn, you know? And like in that movie especially really, really made me remember maybe her and Tara Dakitas tied.
Yeah, Dakitas was a different genre. Dakitas was crazy.
Yeah.
Like she was so good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And not that Victoria wasn't, but Victoria was more soulful, like kind of a Craig Kelly.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember her being too aggressive in freestyle stuff, whereas Tara was like, her and Kevin Jones when they were together, like what the hell was that? Those two dudes were just like, holy shit, mind blowing, both of them.
Absolutely mind blowing. And yeah, that was like kind of a bad comparison, but I was saying it because I just got back from Alaska and I was like doing a lot of like research and like watch that movie and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just like watching her and the way she rode and had her presence in snowboarding.
Yes.
It was like kind of similar to Tara Dakitas, you know, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like obviously
Yeah.
super different riding styles, as you said, but just bosses, you know, like real
Totally.
bosses. Yeah.
Totally. So who are you sponsored by right now?
Right now, I'm really, really fortunate. I have like such a good squad behind me. Lululemon.
Nice.
That's my most recent one. And Oakley Snowboarding has been with me forever. And Red Bull.
Sick.
Yeah, I love them. Like, they're such good people at all those companies. And I have such a good relationship with everybody that I deal with there. So I'm so lucky. Like, so lucky.
So that gives you a travel budget. Like, what's a season like for you right now? Like, do you do competitions as well, or
No, that was like a really big turning point in my career, is because
Right.
coming up, like you kind of have to do it a little bit to get your name out there and all that kind of stuff. So I was doing it, and I think the best result I ever got at the World Championships was 4th. I got 4th, and that was like the best I'd ever done. And I was like, this kind of sucks, you know. Like it was fun to travel around, like you see the world and you get to snowboard with your friends and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you want to win, like you're going to a contest to
Right.
win, you know.
Right.
And I'm not winning, but I know that I can snowboard better than this a little bit.
Sure.
So then I always wanted to film. Like that was the whole means to an end. So I just finally was like, okay, I'm done. And then just only filmed, and I find it so much more rewarding. And my snowboarding improved tenfold because I was doing what I wanted to do and snowboarding in places that I want to snowboard and all that kind of stuff. So when I made that decision, it's crazy how everything just became so much easier.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, because that's the dream. I don't think I'd ever want to compete. I competed like in stupid contests when I was a kid, and then border cross kind of came out. And honestly, when I was competing border cross, no offense to anyone who border crosses, but like it's racing. It's not like at the cutting edge of like what's going on in the videos. And you know, there's no border cross video. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
It kind of was just like this sort of like, I don't want to say cash grab, but it was like something you could compete in because it's simple.
Yeah.
You know? And they're building all these cool features that look cool, but you're actually like trying to unair them. Like you know?
It's just like it's a different genre of snowboarding for sure. Like, and if you're inspired by snowboarders in exile, like, and when you get to a point in your career and you're just doing border crosses, like that's obviously not a path that you know,
so
it's going to be
gave
sustainable
that up
for
pretty
you.
quick.
Yeah,
because I wasn't competitive. And then this last 2 weekends, like last weekend and the weekend before, I did just bank slaloms.
Yeah.
And I'm like totally hooked. I like it now. I like competing. I like putting yourself up there against other people.
Yeah.
And like getting into it and being like, you know, I'm going to do the best I can fucking do.
Yeah.
And same, I only got 5th, but for me, 5th is like first.
Yeah,
because
you love it now. Like
it's the first out of all my buddies and everybody that I know. Because, the guys that are ahead of me are actually like young kids that are doing this full time. I'm a mailman that goes up on evenings and weekends, and anyways, I've gotten this new kind of competitive streak in me that I didn't really even know was there.
Isn't it funny how that stuff changes? Like you're like I'm never gonna do that, and then like 3 years later you look back and you're like, all I want to do is this now.
It was 1 week. It was I recorded at the Seymour bank slalom.
Yep.
And I'm recording with this guy Brett Tippy, who's like a racer, and I'm like, I just don't have that. Like, I'm not competitive. And he's like, a race to win. And then it might have even been when he said that something changed in me. And I was like...
Was it the bake slalom?
Yeah, it was.
Shout out Cork McMorris, man. I love that guy so much. I was so bummed I couldn't be there
He's
to
one
witness
of the
your emergence in competitive snowboarding.
Yeah, so I didn't do super well at that one. I mean, I got 10th. I think that's pretty good. And then there was a grouse one the next weekend, and I went to that going like, I'm training.
It's on.
It's on. I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to do like the Mount Baker bank slalom.
LBS.
Yeah, I'm ready. Like I've done that lottery like too many times to not get in next year. So
I think I'd get IBS at LBS because it's so nerve wracking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm into it. See, that's the thing. So for me, I skipped competing and went straight to taking photos because at the time in the mid '90s, you could get sponsored by saying I like snowboarding. People go, oh, okay, well I've got a snowboard company. You should ride for me. And you go, do you want to see me ride? And they're like, no. But then when the cameras would come out, all of a sudden I would learn tricks in front of a camera because I was like excited to do that.
Yeah.
But then when, I'm in the start gate or I'm dropping into a half pipe in a contest, I'm like all nerves, freaking out. I hated it. So it's switched now. If you take out a camera now, I'm just going to be like, that's for the kids.
Yeah. Put me in the race gates. It's fun.
In a great race,
like
sure.
Mark, I'm going to talk about my brother again, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good, man.
His head in competing is crazy. Like
it would have to be.
It's crazy. There's so many people that see sports psych that do all this kind of stuff to like, they're so talented. They can do all the tricks, but they, for some reason, it's just exactly what you said. When you're in the start, your head starts racing, and like, I can't admire that more in Mark. He just doesn't talk to anybody, just does it. He just goes and does it. With the most amount of pressure in the entire world.
Exactly. You do announcing, right?
Correct.
And so have you announced with Todd Richards?
Never with Todd Richards, no.
Todd talks about how he took himself out of competitions just by the way he was thinking. Like he could tell before he went to the contest, like where he was going to place.
Yeah, there's
like if he's
almost
like,
no point in going sometimes because he's already talked himself out of. But there's people
insane?
that do that in filming too.
Oh, absolutely,
which is crazy.
Absolutely. I see that with my friends, even just filming with my iPhone.
Yep.
Like I've got a couple of friends that as soon as it comes out, they're catching their edge and they're like tripping up, and I mean you put it away and you're like, holy shit, you're so fucking good.
Land that trick 5 times in a row.
Yeah. Like, what is going on? As soon as you know a camera's on you, you're just tripping. I guess it's a mindset, right?
It's a mystery of the world.
Yeah, it totally is. So when do you move from contests into the backcountry, and how hard was that for you to transition? Did you have a crew that you went out with, or did you buy a sled and struggle for a season? Or
for me... So when I retired from contests, I guess retire is a pretty weak word for somebody who's just a schmuck that didn't even come close. You don't really retire.
Fourth is not terrible, dude. Fourth is actually really, really good. And there's a lot of people who competed their whole career and got 17th and 16th and never even cracked the top 10. You know?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so fourth is it's incredibly difficult to get to. Holy shit.
I appreciate that.
Especially now, man. Like, you used to be able to fluke into a contest. You could show up, and you mentioned Sansalone, and he tried to learn rodeos.
Yep.
And you know what? He can come on the show and defend himself from this.
Yeah, Kevin, we're calling you out right now.
Yeah, dude, he couldn't learn them. He couldn't learn them forward, so he learned them switch.
Okay.
And then that won the X Games Big Air, the first year of X Games Big Air. Switch rodeo of 7 or 9 or 5, I can't remember what it was, but he won that, and then he went straight to the West Beach Classic, won the Big Air with a switch rodeo. Same thing.
Interesting strategy. If you're listening at home, kids, just try new tricks when you're in the gate.
Yeah.
We call that a Kevin Sansalone.
Yeah, it's unfucking believable that he, and it was just a technicality that he couldn't do it forwards.
Yeah.
And that made his career in a lot of ways. Like I remember talking with him before, and he was saying, well, I got to start, I'm getting to a certain age. I've been badly hurt in the backcountry, and I'm starting to think maybe I'm not going to make a career from this. It's a tough go, man.
Super tough.
And then he gets that one trick and wins 2 contests. And now that set him on a path for like another 10, 15 years of, pro models and sponsorships and all sorts of shit. So, back then you didn't have to train every day. You didn't have to be at this super level. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, a switch rodeo at that time was impossible. Nobody had seen it. Yeah. And I couldn't have learned it. Yeah. But, I mean, if I did, then I would have tried to go to the X Games and maybe fluke my way into second place. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Nowadays, you're not even getting invited to the contest if you don't have a coach, and you weren't doing it since you were 11.
You got to know somebody that knows somebody to get in nowadays. It's crazy.
It's nutty.
So I think it was like right after that year, I was super lucky because my agent is also agent for Torstein Horgmo. And that was the first year he started, we filmed for the Shredbots movie, the very first movie he did. And he's like, honestly, Torstein is the absolute man. Like, he has given me everything in snowboarding. He gave me the shot to come out with them. Like, I went and filmed with Anto Chamberlain, just like flew out to Quebec, the nicest dude in the world who has given me everything as well. Like, those 2 dudes helped me so much. So I filmed in the streets with Anto, and then I went and commentated the Olympics because I was going for the Olympic team, but I was like, is this something that I really want to do? Do I really, really want to put my entire season and like, am I passionate about this? And it wasn't there for me, Right. So I got to commentate the Olympics, which was awesome and such a good experience and huge learning experience, like just baptism by fire straight up. And then I came back from there and went sledding with Andreas Wig and Torstein for the rest of the year. And I was definitely the slowest person in the crew for sure, but they were super patient with me. Yeah. And we hit some it's funny. They'd fly back from Russia, Sochi, Russia. Get on my sled. I just bought a sled that year. Go up and hit Stepmother with Andreas Wig. First day. My poor snowboard boots. The seams probably busted out because my feet and legs were shaking so bad. Yeah, so scared. But ride with him that day, and then the rest of the season rode with those guys. And I mean, they were so giving. Like you need somebody. You're not just going to get on a sled and go out. Like you need somebody to sacrifice a little bit of their season for you to do it. And I thank those 2 guys so much, Torstein, Andreas, and Anto in Quebec too.
That's rad. Yeah, see, that's a big one. Having somebody take you under their wing, or at least just like say, hey, look, don't worry about it. Yeah. You're going to be slow for a couple of days. We'll give you a day or 2. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Learn to keep up or whatever. Yeah. It's crazy going out on a sled for the first, the first time I was like, okay, I don't need to ever do that again. That was an awful lot. That like I'll just wait for catboard days or or like try and find some way to get on a heli or something. Yeah. And then the second and third day, as I started to get it, I was like, oh wait, no, this is way better. Yeah. This is crazy. It's gonna hurt. Like it really beats your body up. It's incredible how stressful the sledding is and how many people have mentioned that on the show. Like
the fear.
It's so
lying in bed the night before, thinking about where you're going to go. Are we going to take this route? Are we going to go up the S chute? Blah, 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 blah. The fear will get you 9 times out of 10, especially when you're starting. But if you just like, it's just like, I come from a farming background and I worked on a ranch and stuff like that. And it's just like, grin and bear it. Like just bite the bullet and just, you're going to take your licks for sure. Yeah. But just go, like keep going, get back on the horse, get back on the sled, never stop. Like total a sled, buy a new one, do it again. That's the only way you're ever going to like even make a blip on the radar in sledding and stuff that. Because once you pay your dues, it's the funnest thing in the world,
Yeah. Yeah. Doubling with somebody that is, because I had friends that I had a good time doubling with because it was very intuitive. They knew what you know what I mean? Like they rode to my ability level. And then I had other friends that were just like, hold on, and I would get bucked,
So gnarly.
And my level went up with the first guy. I was like, this is super fucking awesome. Yeah. I didn't get there for the first whole season that I could ride the sled down gnarly shit to get to,
Yeah.
which was, my incentive was low too, because if I can't get it back down there, then I don't ever have to do anything but snowboard when we get to the zone.
Exactly.
And that's lame, and I'm not pulling my weight, but that first season I was just like, I bagged a lot of good lines, and thanks to the guys for putting up with me. I
also, before we go any further on this subject, I got to mention John Swiston, who owned New Life Cinemas, and Dave Craig. They gave me a good crack at it too. So I got to film with those guys too, just a little bit before tour sign, but I was still competing at that time.
Yeah.
And Craig Baldy was actually a really instrumental part in that whole kind of thing.
That's rad.
It's funny when you start talking, like you think you remember it, but when you start talking about it, like so many little trips come up, and you realize like how important those little trips were to like the next season and the next season, and then they educate you a little bit. Like, yeah, it was crazy. It's fun to talk about. Your brain starts racing and racing and racing. Yeah.
When you just brought up Dave Craig, now when I was a kid competing at I would have been 15.
Yep.
Dave Craig would have been 13.
Yep.
And he was an up and comer Ontario kid that could not be beat. He was like one of the best half pipe riders. I remember him and this kid, Brian Langhorst, both just being like, I remember seeing them and being like, holy shit, like 13-year-olds do this now. Like, it's going to blow up, bro. And we were only 15, but it was like we were old and they were young.
The 2-year gap when you're 15 just seems like years and years and years.
It's
Where in
nuts.
Ontario are you from again?
I'm from a small town called Orillia, which is just outside of Barrie.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of resorts there. But then my parents moved to Sudbury when I was a kid, which, shout out to Sudbury.
The Nickel Town.
It's a crazy place. And it's a really nice place to motivate you to get the hell out of there. It's minus 20 in the winter for months at a time. And
good spots there, yeah?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Like, we did backcountry there. I mean, the vertical was under 100 meters, but you would just go... You could go as far as the eye could see, and there's little things to hit all the time. It was really, really fun, and most of the time we were out there building a fire to stay warm, and we had the whole place to ourselves. And a lot of good people came out of there because you had to be motivated to do it. I remember coming out here and being like, these guys are all soft.
Oh, I know. I've become soft now, too, because I spent so much time out here, but I remember thinking that, too. It's funny, when I was living in Regina and just traveling out of there, I said to myself, I'm never going to move to Whistler because that's where I thought people's careers went to die. Like if you're like there, you're like, why would you ever leave? It's perfect here, blah, 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 Yeah. So I never was going to move here. But then when I did, I was like, okay, I get it now. And it's just the individual. It's like, do you have the drive? Do you want to like further your career? Do you want to go drive down to Vancouver, get on a plane, do stuff all the time? Like it's the individual. It's not the place.
I agree with you totally. I think you have a leg up if you're from somewhere that is smaller and you had to work for it, because you seem to have, at least for the first few years, a real reverence for what you've got. Like every time it's a good day, you're like, this is the best day.
Yeah, first chair, last call, let's do it.
I still feel that. Like I still say all the time, like, that was the best. You know, oh my God, that was the best day I've ever had. I went Heli, and then I came back to Vancouver, and the first day back in Vancouver was the best day of the season, and then the day after that was the best day in the season again. And it's just like, I enjoy it so much. My friend who's from out here, he'll take the day off if it's not the best,
Oh, yeah.
He picks his days.
But I agree with you. I'm in the exact same boat. I rode West Park today with just a solid crew. We had so much fun. I was like, this is the best day, like the best day ever, like having so much fun on my snowboard.
Yeah.
So I'm in the exact same boat as you.
Yeah, compare it to like riding in your backyard and hitting a flat rail 50 times.
Yeah, minus 27, trying to do a trick, getting slammed, and then just sitting inside, looking at the rail from the living room, being like, I hate you so much.
I hate you. That's sick. So, I'm interested in so many things. How did you get into the commentating thing? Like you said, trial by fire. Like they put it in your lap saying, the tricks. You can watch this and call it for, what would it be, CBC?
It was CBC. I'm so thankful for them. They gave me such a shot, I've
That's
been
rad.
The youngest commentator they've ever had, I think.
That's amazing.
But it was coming into that year. It was me and Charles were really fighting for that last spot. Mm-hmm. Maybe I say fighting. He was probably destroying me. But anyways, I was like, I don't know, but I really want to be involved. Like, this is huge, the snowboarding Olympics. Like, I want somebody that knows what they're talking about, So I called my agent. I'm like, hey, is there any way let's like start this conversation? And they gave me an audition. We called like a World Cup that was coming into it, and they're like, okay, you're good. And then I flew to Russia and spent a month there and called every single snowboard event. Border cross, giant slalom, parallel giant slalom, like stuff that I didn't know that much about. I educated myself, and I thought I did a pretty good job and stuff like that. But like the slopestyle and the half pipe I knew really, really well. But it was just such a different, like you're working with professionals, like people that have done 10 Olympics, like so gnarly, such a different mindset. And it really made me grow up fast. Like I think about the way I behaved and what I did on that trip, and I'm like, I was such a rookie, Rob Snook, my co-commentator, like the host, and I was like the analyst.
Yeah.
He was so patient with me. He was so kind. Like he was the man. And I still get to call events with him every once in a while, and it's just like such a treat because he took me from like 20, I was 20 or 21.
Yeah.
And like just in Russia for a month, like just working, like all the snowboard events were at the start, all like the people that I knew, and then they're just gone, and I was just like there for the rest. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was definitely a baptism by fire.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, so my parents would know your voice better probably than they know mine because they watch all the snowboarding stuff at the Olympics. They were telling me the other day, they're like, we just sat and watched all the snowboarding at the Olympics, and I was like, I didn't even see, like I saw 2 runs.
Yeah.
I saw like a highlight of Red's run, and I saw some dude from Britain that was spinning really fast but not really getting a lot of air, and I was like, ooh, I don't like to watch that. I don't want to watch the. And no offense to him. No. Everybody that makes it to the Olympics, they're at the height of their game.
Absolutely.
But it's just, for me, it's like,
it's not what you're into. That's the best part about snowboarding, though. It's the best part. You talk about border cross. Like, you're not in border cross. You're not in the Olympics. Like, some people are just in the Olympics. Some people are just in a border cross. That's what I love about snowboarding so much. And what I kind of dislike is when people are talking shit on stuff that they don't do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's obviously not for you. Like, why are you watching it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that frustrates me. Like, Yeah.
Like, if you and I were sitting there calling out racers, bad style, or like making fun of them if they fall. We shouldn't be there. That's rude.
It's not about it's not about us. Is it? Like, that's
totally.
That's what I always feel like too, because everybody has this crazy opinion of snowboarding.
Yes,
but snowboarding isn't one thing. Like, it's a million different things, and you maybe like one little area of it, and it doesn't give you the right to talk shit on other areas of it.
Totally.
That's the way I feel. Because sometimes I'm guilty of it. Like, start talking shit, and I'm like, what? Like, do I do that? Like, why do I care about, like, nah,
Right. Yeah, I remember at one point making the connection between, because skiers used to really hate on snowboarders.
I know, and this was before my time too, this was your time.
Dude. Yeah, it was nutty. Someone would take the time to say, like, well, I don't hate you because you're on the chairlift with me, but every snowboarder I've ever seen scrapes the snow off the moguls or whatever their dumb thing was.
Yeah.
They're always in the way. They're always stopped at the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And at one point I realized, oh, you're not talking about snowboarders. You're talking about beginners.
Yeah.
You just don't like beginners.
Yeah.
There's beginner skiers that are in the way. There are beginner snowboarders that are in the way. And, then maybe don't go on the beginner runs.
Exactly. It's crazy.
But I also remember there was a switch for me where I felt like I was like some sort of, evolved person, because I was like, I don't mind that there's a skier in our crew. Like, I remember saying that.
Same here. Like, dude, growing up when you're in the snowboard only crew and all this kind of stuff, and then you like mature a little bit, and you're like, who like...
I didn't mature until I was like 35, though. That's the thing that's so crazy, is that I was like, we got a skier in our crew, and he's not even weird. Okay, I'm weird saying that.
Yeah,
like, just riding hills.
Yeah, it's, if you think about what you're actually doing, and I know some of you are probably going to hate me for saying this, but it's like, it's all fucking stupid. You're riding down a piece of wood down the hill, and then you're like making fun of somebody who else is riding 2 pieces of shit down the hill, It's like, there's so much crazy shit going on, and that's what you're devoting your energy to. That always blows me away so much.
Yeah. Well, it's in every sport. It's in skateboarding, longboarders or small wheels or vert versus street or whatever. And racing versus freestyle and BMX, and surfing for sure has it. Longboard, kooks, and now there's paddle boards. Everything just kind of expands into this thing where you can't possibly do all the stuff.
No, exactly.
Like you guys didn't have to race, right? Like you guys were
we were
far beyond.
We actually were with the governing body of Saskatchewan Sport, they got some funding for the Canada Winter Games. So Mark and myself got to compete in the Yukon. So I don't even want to guess how many years ago at the Winter Games in halfpipe. And then I got to do it one more time in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I think it was like 18 or 19. And that was so fun because Russell took me out and we got so fucking drunk in Halifax. Like, it was so fun. Like, just because I was like 19 now and I can legally drink and like with my coach, and we don't really go, not my coach, he was just like a homie that drove us to the hill, Yeah. That was the best part about the entire situation, was he wasn't telling you what to do. He's like, hey, let's go to the hill. You can't ride the park. We have to ride the resort. Like, we're at Sunshine, there's snow, like we're not riding the park, like we're just doing runs. You have to do this. And that was the coolest thing, right? So I'm in Halifax with Russell. He's the man, have tons of drinks. We get back to the thing and there's like, then we see all these signs like no drinking, like all this crazy stuff. And I was like, this is so sick. Like, I'm having so much fun, But rode half pipe there, and I think I got fourth there too, actually. So,
oh, that's sick. So is that kind of your curse? Like getting the
fourth place. I mean, there's too much attention on the podium. You know, you can do your run, you do as good as you do. You want to get fourth. Yeah. You don't have to talk to anybody after.
That's true, right? Yeah, nice.
Nah, just kidding.
So you did half pipe, and then slopestyle was your event, right? Like that.
Yeah, that's what I competed in, slopestyle and big air and stuff like that. But big air. Yeah. It was all just a means to go filming. Like, that's what I cared about the most. Like, I watched videos. I talked about technical difficulties and follow me around in all those videos that I used to watch. And I was like the biggest snowboard nerd I still am. I try to watch everything all the time because that's what I want to do. Like, that's what I learned, is like watching stuff and then being like, okay, I see how somebody does that. Let me try that,
Rad.
So I just try to watch it as much as I could. And I was doing it at that time. And I was like, I want to film. I want to do as much of that.
Yeah. When do you start filming?
When did I? Sorry?
Yeah, like...
I mean, like, with John Swiston was, like, probably... And Dale Bailey from Edmonton. I don't know, like, 2000... Wow. 2012? 2013?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
It's been a while. Well, yeah. I still think 2013 is pretty... Yeah, I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun.
Still 6 years ago. Right. And did you naturally... Like... I know for me, I always kind of resisted being the filmer guy because it kind of feels like the filmer guy is the guy who just didn't quite get to that competitive level a lot of times. Not always. Yeah. The best filmers, guys like Scott Surface, photographers like Dano, they were at a really good level at the time that they pick up their cameras. And it's almost like they're taking pictures of their friends, and then they're like, hey, you also take pictures of me, right? Like, exactly. I've looked into what we need, and we need this exact equipment, and like, here, I'll film you, you film me, kind of thing.
I always thought those guys were just a little bit smarter than everybody else.
Yeah, they were. It's true. Yeah.
You don't have to get broke off, and you can still be out with the boys,
Yeah.
But, no, I was so bad at filming. Like, I never picked up the camera just because I was super bad at it, and like, I don't know, it just never went in that direction for me.
Yeah.
But I admire all those guys.
Yeah.
So much. They're so smart and they're so dedicated and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And so, because by the time you're filming in the backcountry, there are established crews.
Yeah. And I was really lucky where it wasn't like me and a couple homies who just passed around the camera. Like, it never really was that for me. It was like competing, and then I was like filming with people.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Who are the shred bots?
That was Torstein and Mark and myself, and it was like a website just like Transworld was doing at the time. Like, that was when like everybody would visit websites, and that's where you got your updates, your edits. So Torstein was like the one who was paying for it, the one who was getting the filmer. He was making sure everything was edited, doing all that kind of stuff, and we were lucky enough to tag along, and then we kind of started doing our own videos and putting it on there, and it just became this like kind of hub.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the Shredbots, and then he made the 3 videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last one?
Reboot.
Yeah. I watched that twice. That's saying a lot. Like, watching an Instagram 1-minute video twice is a lot for me now.
I mean, it's crazy to think about. Like, if you sit down for 30 minutes and watch something, that's wild.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, the Austin Sweeten edit that he just put out, the little video that he did.
High Octane?
High Octane, it's 8 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And I loved it the whole way through.
Amazing film.
But I was like, I'm gonna have to watch that again. I wasn't completely paying attention.
Yeah.
But it was gorgeous. I love the way that they started with kind of just resort riding. You're going like, what is this? It's kind of like small and pinner and like accessible stuff, and then all of a sudden it's just like bam, hammers and
heavy snowboarding. He's another one of those guys that when you ride anything with him, he's going so fast and he's got so much board control.
Yeah.
And he's a smaller guy, right? So you don't think he's going to be as powerful, but he's almost more powerful. Like he knows how to use gravity better than maybe a bigger guy who can muscle something around or like can just carry more speed, you know?
Well, yeah, you see him and you see Travis, and I've said this a couple of times. I don't know that I've said it on mic, but when I met Travis, I was like, you're just a giant, exactly the same proportion Devin Walsh.
Yep.
Like you're the same thing, just
bigger.
Way
He's
bigger.
Two Devins, yeah.
Yeah, like, and holy shit. Okay, now I understand. Now I get what I'm watching.
Yeah, you want to talk about horsepower.
Horsepower. That's exactly what the fuck. Like when I saw him, I don't think I've ever been as impressed with just like seeing a person in person.
Oh yeah.
As Travis, the way he carries himself around his fans, the way that he's in control of his situation, his environment.
Professional through and through. Like on all sides. That's the thing like some people don't understand is if you want to be a pro snowboarder, you have to be a pro off your snowboard as well. Totally. And Travis is the best at that. Like he will take time with anybody. He'll talk to anybody. He'll talk to anybody at any company. You know, some people are like, oh, that dude's a kook. It's like that dude doesn't come from your world. You have to talk to him in his language.
Yeah.
And you can get amazing stuff. You can get incredible opportunities. And Travis is so good at that. He can talk to anybody about anything, make them on his team, and give him whatever he wants.
So now seeing him, especially in that movie, like you're watching what those guys are doing, and I'm going, this is bordering on too much. Like those pillows, I was like, okay, that's as far as you can take that. We can't go any more.
Oh, but you just wait. I was with Travis in Alaska, and he's got a pillow line that he's probably going to drop pretty soon. That it's the psychoest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy.
What in the hell?
I don't know
where does it come from?
I don't know where Jackson, but he comes from another planet too. You know,
that is true.
Yeah,
it's a different place.
Yeah.
Have you spent time there?
I went to Grand Targhee for the Peace Park, and that's it. That's all my time in Wyoming. One time, well, actually, this is my favorite story ever. I'm a big George Strait fan. He's a country star, and he sings about Cheyenne, the city in Wyoming. And I was driving right when I graduated high school. I worked on the farm all summer, and then it snowed. I was going to drive down to Colorado, which is 16 hours straight north of Regina. And then I got in the craziest snowstorm in my little truck, rear-wheel drive. Oof. Highways were shut down, had to sleep a night in Cheyenne. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, I'm in Wyoming, in Cheyenne, like the rodeo capital of the world, like so sick. But I was still kind of scared at the same time. But yeah, that was the only really experience I've had in Wyoming.
Unreal.
Yeah.
We drove from Revy down to Jackson, and I was driving a Volkswagen Golf, like a little car.
Yeah.
And that last pass coming into Jackson, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
There was snow barreling over the top of the car.
You guys are getting pitted the whole way.
If I would have stopped, we would have been just totally stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden we got to where it had been plowed, and we just came through the wall of snow, and I was like, oh my God, we made it.
We're in Jackson.
Holy shit, this is insane.
Yeah.
I've never done any driving like that. It's like being on the Coquihalla with 3 feet of powder and just blow or snow, too.
Yeah, it's super dry there.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of my life for sure, going to Jackson and just riding fall line. It's all fall line. It's just super steep, and that's one thing that Whistler has a lot of traversing, you know? Like you want to find these pockets.
Traverse, steep for a second, traverse.
Yeah.
And that's why Travis and everybody that comes out of there is so aggressive and so good, is because that's the only way you can ride the terrain. You know, you're going to be going super fast, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. Whistler Fast is scary to me too. Like Whistler's a big mountain, and people ride, top to bottom runs super fast.
I love it. I love when you get the legs back. The first couple runs of the season, you're just so weak, and then midway through, you can just bomb anything, switch. That's my favorite, watching dudes who ride Whistler every single day.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever got that. I'm not even going to say I don't think. I know I haven't. I've never come here. Like, there's been days where I'm riding with friends from Whistler that have their legs where I go, I'll just see at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like I'll try and keep up, but like back 10 years ago, there were no lift lines a lot of the days that we would ride, so now, You've got like 15 minutes and you'll catch your friends. You know what I mean?
Just wait 15.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. What kind of changes have you seen since you've come out here from on the mountainside? Are you sponsored by Whistler? Does Vail Resorts give you
They give me a free pass. Yeah,
That's sick.
I'm super lucky. Yeah, I have a really good relationship with the people who were doing the marketing at Whistler before Vail took over, and I've been lucky enough to kind of stay on, I guess, throughout that transition. And it's different for sure. I mean, the improvements that they made to the mountain, like this year, like it sucked that Cat Skinner went, but the new Cat Skinner is amazing. You can do so many park laps, and that's what I always said. I was like, the thing that's taking away from Canada winning every single spot on the podium at every single Olympics is the fact that these jumps are here, but it takes you so long to lap them.
right?
So now you can lap them super fast, and then the 6-pack on Whistler, I was riding that today. Emerald is now 6. Like the lift line that used to at the bottom of West Park used to be psycho. Now, even on the psychoest day, it's not that bad because you're getting 6 people up every single time. So I think the improvements that they made with the lift are amazing. I don't really like going slow at the slow spots. That sucks, but I mean, whatever. It sucks, but whatever.
I hear you, dudes. What's your ratio of resort days to out in the backcountry kind of thing?
I mean, this year sucks because I was filming for X Games Real Snow, did all that. Then me and Mark have this project where we're doing 3 big trips, Finland, Alaska, and then Aspen. So I've been gone so much this winter, like the most traveling ever. And then I got back and it's been baked ever since I've been back. So I think I've got like 4 sled days, and I've just been riding the park as much as possible because I'm going to be going and shooting in Aspen with Brock Crouch, Judd Hankus, Zoe Sadowski-Sanat, and Haley Langan, like the best little park riders in the world, and then obviously Mark. So
Rad.
Trying to get the park legs back a bit, learn some new tricks. We'll see.
Yeah, that's so sick. So you talked about your reel edit. How did people get into that? Tell me a little bit about that, because I've watched only 2 of them. I watched yours yesterday and maybe a second time this morning. There's some footage in that from the We Tried, right? Like a couple of those shots?
No, that's so X Games Real Snow is, they're celebrating 10 years of doing like the Real series, and essentially what it is they invite a group of riders. It could be skateboarders, it could be dirt bikers, could be whatever, and you get a lot of time to film a video, and then it's given to a panel of judges, and they judge it. And I think it's like really cool because you're still in the contest side, you're still part of X Games and all that kind of stuff, but you're filming.
Yeah, that's rad.
I was up against heavy crew: Will Smith, Maria Thompson, Spencer Schubert, Frank Bourgeois, and Anto Chamberlain.
Is Frank the guy from Quebec with all the church footage?
Yep, he's got a lot of church footage in there.
Oh my God.
He's a beast.
That's the other one that I saw, and I was like, I can't believe that snowboarding's at this level now.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's mental.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Just death on every single spot. Don't go left, don't go right. You don't want to go far, and you don't want to be short. That's kind of the spots that he's hitting.
And his fucking style is so on point. Like, while he's doing this, he looks like he's the most relaxed kid ever.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Crazy. Him and Anto for sure. Like, Anto's hitting just as big as spots, has such sick style. Like, those two have been battling for gold and silver like for the past 3 years.
Really?
So when I got invited this year, first time doing it, I'm just aiming for 3rd. I'm a rose gold kind of guy. I'm going bronze all day. If I get bronze, I'm going to party like Alexander Ovechkin.
Hey, your part is sick, dude.
For the next 2 years.
Shit is good.
Thank you.
So what are the rules around that? Is there anything like
you have an allotted time frame? I think December to March 4th, because a couple people got hurt, so they need to make it a little bit longer. And you got to film all your tricks in that time frame. Hand in your video on March 4th at midnight. We handed ours in at 11:55 on that time.
Really?
Me and Marcus Skin.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I don't think you can't vomit in your video, and you can't give the F finger. I think those are the 2 big rules.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's ESPN production, right? And they're owned by Disney, so it's definitely.
I don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more straight edge, if you will. But it was wild. It's such an honor to be invited because I've looked up to that contest for so long. Like I've always held that in super high regard. Yeah, and to get invited was like crazy. And then I was just like, I'm going to put everything I have. Yeah, literally everything. I'm going to die. I want to die.
Yeah, you're motivated
when I'm
to
doing
put it
this.
on the line.
Yeah. So,
well, that brings me to just one of the things about the Olympics that Terry kind of complained about in the beginning was that, there's not guaranteed safe conditions. It's like people sometimes will just put their neck out because they're wanting to try and either qualify or win at an event that's not necessarily taking into account, the safety of the snowboarders. I don't want to put that on the IOC or anyone, but like it seems like, I don't know, it seems like some of the soul that was there pre-Olympics in the events and the creativity of the events has been kind of sucked out of it in the name of like, we got to make something that people can look at and understand.
Mass produced. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's never right or wrong. Like there's always going to be bad conditions. There's going to be adverse conditions, and that's the way it's going to be always. It's like an outdoor event.
Right.
So I mean, that's like a reality of it. I think that the governing body FIS isn't doing that solid of a job because it's like a ski federation and they do ski racing. They do all these events that they've done for years and years and years and are very good at doing that. But then taking on the snowboard side of things just seems kind of crazy and absolutely not right. Which sucks that they're the ones that are doing it, but that's the world we live in, and hopefully it will change soon.
Right.
And there will be a different governing body, but until then, they're going to be running that side of things. And
the weird thing about that FIS ISF thing was that at the time that it was happening, the voices like Terrier that were saying, ISF all the way, you didn't know what you were competing in. Like if you were a regular dude like me and the Swatch Border Cross Tour comes to Mount Seymour and you're signing some papers, you don't know what governing body it is.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm going to the fucking Border Cross race. Yeah. Right? Like, so then, like, it was only the top tier guys. There's only like 10 or 20 people that could really make that decision, but then everybody below them's going to go like, what, do I not do the Swatch race? But it's like, the reason I chose to do it was because it's at my home mountain and they built a really nice course. Yeah. And I could afford it. It was $75 or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, as right as Terrier was about what he was right about, it took a really long time for it to materialize. And I don't know that many people are really that upset about it. You know what I mean? Like, we traded as a group the old, like, please let us be on your mountain thing for, we want to be on TV. You know
I mean, it's so, that's trippy to think about, really. You know? It's the mindset that people had years ago, and then the mindset people have now, and the mindset that people are going to have about it. Like, when the generation comes up and this is all they've ever known, like, how are they going to react to it,
Yeah. I mean, it's such a tough question. Really what it is if you love competitions, you want your competition to be good, really well organized.
Absolutely. That's what I love about, like, the X Games, Every single year you're going to show up. Course is going to be dope. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be watching. All the sponsors care about it. Like, that, if somehow you could replicate that to be Olympic qualifiers and then the Olympics,
right,
it would be a great world. It'd be amazing. That'd be great. But that's just not the world that we live in.
Yeah, because we had like one world champion, and then for a while we had like two world champions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could be the FIS or the ISF world champion, and then you could be the Olympic champion. So what is that? Is that more of a world champion than the first one?
The bureaucracy behind it is just mind-boggling.
It was weird.
And there's been some really good people who have made stabs at trying to get it away and, like, trying to do their own tours and do all that kind of stuff, and it's really admirable, but it's beautiful, but it's kind of sad how small and niche snowboarding is.
It is.
And how there's really, like, to do that kind of stuff, to make those powerful changes in the eyes of the IOC, the people who make the decisions for the Olympics, you have to have billions of dollars. Like, you have to have so much money, and how they're just, at the end of the day, there's not that much money in snowboarding.
Yeah, I think that when, and I keep bringing him up, but Terrier's view on the Olympic thing, when you're not allowed to, like, shout out your sponsor, you're not allowed to be representing who brought you up, who nursed you through your injuries, who supported you when you had a down year or bad snow year and you didn't film a perfect part or whatever.
Yeah.
To not be able to shout those guys out when you're at this huge event that everybody's watching, it takes something away from the whole process. Like, when you mentioned your sponsors, you didn't mention a board sponsor.
I don't have one.
So that to me is like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, how do people compete without board sponsors, what do? You just go and pick the board that you want to ride?
I've been super lucky because Burton has like always sent me free stuff. You know, like I get hooked up by Burton.
Right.
Like it's so sick.
I've
got boards and boots and bindings my whole career.
Yeah.
And there's been offers from other companies, but they just don't make stuff as good as Burton. So I'm like, unless the offer is worth it, I'm not going to take it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So I've been super lucky that way.
Yeah.
To have Burton on my side. But I know that point that you made, like you're at the Olympics, you're on the biggest stage, and this is who you want to thank.
Right.
And you're not allowed to thank them.
And on top of it, you're thanking McDonald's and Coca-Cola. That's crazy to me.
No.
Because you're not going to get to the Olympics if you're drinking Coca-Cola all day, eating McDonald's. That's not happening. So, like, there's got to be this feeling while you're there. Maybe not. Maybe it's easy.
That feeling is definitely there.
Maybe it's easy to not think about it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, who fucking cares? It's brought to you by Ford Motor Car or whatever the hell it's brought to you by. It's television networks and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I guess, like, shit, man, I don't know. Like, that to me, I don't know. That's not even my question because for me, I'm a local rider that just, you know, I like to go and chase POW.
Well, snowboarding's in its infancy, you know?
It right.
really is, and it's just growing pains throughout a sport that's growing and becoming, I guess, more accepted in the eyes of a general public. And I believe that every single sport coming into the Olympics that was new has gone through growing pains as well. And like, there's people who have really firm opinions on one side and the other, and as the sport matures, I think those opinions will soften a little bit, or I hope they will. I hope we're all going in the right direction. But
right,
I mean,
I feel like because snowboarding's in between in size, right? Like it's not like hockey, which is massive, and it's not like the one where you're skiing and shooting targets, which is pinner.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like it's somewhere in between.
Yeah,
where there's like a lot of people that really love the sport that are like, hey, I don't know, it's cool that it's in the Olympics. But I don't really care that much.
Would you agree that snowboarding's in puberty right now?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That makes sense.
We're finding ourselves.
Yeah. It's an awkward stage.
Yeah, it's super awkward. I mean, it's a beautiful stage nonetheless.
Yeah, it's cool. I really love having the perspective of like, snowboarding was there before I started. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and I know what it's like to not really look back for a long time. And then to get, you know, further along and go, shit, what were they doing before? Oh, there was like Terry Kidwell, and there was like Tahoe, and there was Tom Sims, and there was Burt Lamar, and there were these dudes that were just like winging it, you know? And I think when you guys look at the Olympics, right? Ross winning and getting on a plane right away with his gold medal and shooting it onto the David Letterman show, like he was winging it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I think
nobody's ever walked this path before.
Yeah, no.
What's the right way to walk it?
Right.
There's no right way. You're just doing what you're doing at that time, and people can look back on it, and hindsight's always 20/20, and you can tell people what they did right or wrong or whatever, but they're just doing what they think is right at the time.
Mm-hmm. When you watch and you're calling an Olympic event, are you cognitive of stuff that's come before, like, you know, like the big air skiing from the 70s and 80s that, you know, that skiing was going off those big freestyle jumps?
No, I have no idea.
So you don't see snowboarding kind of going in that direction. You still see style when people are coming down, and you're like, okay, that guy's got good style. He's going to do really well. Yeah,
for sure.
Cool.
I like to think I do. Snowboarding's at a point right now where it's so advanced, and I mean, everybody's gonna say this about every single year. Snowboarding's always advanced. It's such a crazy level right now. You know,
yeah,
you can say that a million times over to you, blue in the face. But if you're really in it and you know the guys that are doing all the stuff all the time, and you're watching them ride all the time, and you're riding with them, you notice like crazy nuances that even somebody that snowboards a lot and like, oh, I was involved in snowboarding, but you don't ride with those guys anymore.
Right.
You know, you're not in it as much as you were.
Right.
And even myself, like I since I've stopped competing, I'm maybe like one iota away from what I was, but I still like to believe I know a lot.
Sure.
You can see that kind of stuff. You can see, but at the end of the day, it's a judge sport. That's the other thing that we will always wrestle with. It's all opinion. What you think is cool might not be what homie thinks is cool, but homie's the judge, and he's going to hand out the medal. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Yeah. So that's, you just have, it's all this thing. It's all a grain of salt. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. Like, if you don't win, who gives a shit? You know, you did the best run that you could. You'd add the most style and whatever. Go snowboard tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember 2010 when it was in Vancouver. and seeing Kazu style and being like, how come that guy's not going to win?
I know.
I wish that guy was favored to win.
I know.
That shit was awesome. And again, it's in my hometown, and I caught I think I watched the finals because there was in fact, I know I did, because there was like a party that someone put on with free beer that was like, we're going to watch the finals. And I was like, shit, this is the only Olympic event I've ever watched. And it was dope, dude.
Yeah.
It was cool to watch. And it's like, it's at a level that, like you were saying, like it got away from me so long ago. Like I can't count this. I can't count the rotations. Can you see it fairly easily? Obviously you can.
Yeah. That's like, it's my job. So I have to, you know, like, no matter how hard I try or what I do, I'll always get lit up online about a mistake I made. Mm-hmm. Always, constant, like always. And I don't mean to make the mistake, but I'm like watching like somebody do back-to-back 1620s, and I have to have a conversation with homie next to me, and then also listen to a producer in my ear. So I make mistakes all the time, and I've learned, like when I started, I'd get bummed on myself, you know, like on that kind of stuff. But now I'm like, who cares, you know? Who gives a shit?
What are you talking about? It like one per event kind of thing, or one?
Oh no, just like a bunch of people would be like, "That's not what that's called," or like, you know, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like people like nitpicking.
Yeah, how would you know what every single trick in the world is called?
Yeah, and people come from different eras of snowboarding in the way that they used to call tricks, and the way that a lot of the kids are talking. Like I say it like the kid I'm like, yo, what are you going to do? And he says it. Yeah. I'm going to say it like he says it because that's what he's doing. You know? Like, And you're like, no, well, back in 1999, we didn't call it that trick. You know? It's like, okay, well, homie just told me that's what he wants to call it. So who gives a shit, you know?
Yeah, that whole thing happened with Todd Richards and
remember
that?
I just want to
I know, isn't
bury my head in a pillow.
That's one of those things where I looked at it and I was like, okay.
You have so much time on your hands.
Too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
Like, that's nutty.
Yeah.
Let them call it whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, it's like...
They're surfing, they can just... Whatever, so what? It's like your grandfather saying some stupid thing.
Back in my day...
Yeah, that's fine.
We called it this.
Yes, then call it that.
Go have your your grilled cheese sandwich and tomato bisque, buddy, at 4:30. I'm going to go get another tequila. Can I grab a tequila really quick?
Yeah.
Cool.
We got time, man.
Cool.
I can remember thinking that if snowboarding keeps progressing with jumps and features getting bigger and tricks getting harder, that we're going to get to the point where the top level competitors are risking their lives in every contest they go in. And I think we're totally in that zone right now. Although the kids that are there don't seem to really realize what it is. Like, I don't know, maybe they're just so used to being exposed to like stuff that's so big and so gnarly that when people get hurt, they're like, oh, that was like unlucky, you know, as opposed to being like, no, we're doing like some dangerous ass shit. Anyways, I just wanted to insert a trigger warning here for listeners who are sensitive to descriptions of gnarly injuries. So skip ahead to 1 hour, 30 minutes and 10 seconds if you're not in the mood to hear graphic descriptions of someone getting hurt. I thought I'll do a season. I'll do 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'll exhaust the old guys.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to just hand the show off to somebody young who knows what's up. Like you. Like I'm listening to you talk and seeing the way that you work a mic. You know how to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, you're the right guy to have a podcast about snowboarding that's relevant to what's going on now, right? Because you know. And then slowly over time, I was like, let's just keep the show going. It doesn't really matter that I don't know what the hell's going on.
You don't want a host that knows everything, though. You know what I'm saying? You don't, like, when I'm listening to a podcast, I don't want the host to be telling me the stories.
Right.
I want the guest to be telling me the stories, you know?
Yeah,
I want the host to be asking questions that I would want to ask because I don't know about this stuff. So I feel like you're perfect. Like, you're perfect.
Thanks, man.
You have so much education, especially for me, talking to the older dudes because you know how the stories, right? You know how to get it out of them a little bit. And I think with newer age snowboarders, if you will,
sure, you're
asking the right questions because a lot of people don't know these people. You know, they're fresh, you know, so you're asking really relevant questions. Right. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I wasn't fishing for that, but I like what I caught. I definitely, I definitely grew into like being the guy on the mic. Like I love talking snowboarding. It's one of my favorite things. And the people in snowboarding that love to snowboard and that get to a level like where you're at, 100% of the time they've got either stories or interesting shit about them that got them here. You know, like, 'cause I haven't talked to anyone who was like, well, yesterday I was really into, you know, online poker, and then I saw snowboarding on TV and I started, and I'm good at it. It's like, you can't.
No. The 10,000 hour rule is so prevalent. And you've probably talked about this on the podcast before, but like,
I don't know that anyone's ever mentioned it, but yeah.
You have to do 10,000 hours to be an expert at anything, right?
100%.
And in those 10,000 hours, you have to break yourself off. You have to be scared. You have to be, you know, exhilarated. You have to have adrenaline, like, and that all makes stories. So everybody that's done a craft for so long will have to have stories.
Yeah, of course. So just you saying that, I'm thinking about last year and your brother getting badly hurt. You were there, right?
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. What's today? March 27th?
Yeah.
2 years on the day.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
How did that day start out? Like, everybody's happy, going into the backcountry to film a bit of shit? And...
Yeah, I don't know if I really want to get into it, to be honest.
All right, let's
not do it.
Because
I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. It's so fucked up.
Yeah.
I thought my brother was going to die.
Yeah.
Like, pretty sure. And
you were right there.
I was right
with
there
him.
the whole time.
Oh,
and
God,
I still,
dude.
like, when I close my eyes, I think about it. I can't, like, sleep when I think about it. And maybe it's probably good to talk about it, but I don't know. Like, I mean, if we want to talk about it, let's talk about it, actually.
All right.
It's
well,
good. Let's talk about it. Straight up, started the day. We went sledding up Rainbow.
Yep.
It was, like, kind of overcast, so we want to hit some jumps. And we hit this jump that I hit before, actually, and it was, like, really skinny landing. Two really huge groups of trees on both sides, like, really, really skinny landing.
Right.
And we built the jump. I hit it once, switchback 5. I'm goofy, so I'm spinning switchback 5 to the right.
Yep.
And then Mark hits it once, and then it gets super cloudy. So we wait, and I was spinning to the right, and I hit the trees on the left. Like, that's how skinny the landing was, right?
Right.
And I think we chill for a while, and Mark hadn't spent that much time in the backcountry. He's talented. He can ride anything. Incredible. Yeah. But sometimes it just pays to have experience a little bit. And then he went back up and was going to hit it again. And I was kind of over it because we waited for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours.
So you're cold.
Cold. Kind of forget the way the speed is.
Right.
He goes front 3 and he's left foot forward, so he's spinning to the left. Which I spun to the right and I hit the trees on the left. He spins to the left. And just flew like 60 feet into a tree.
Oh, fuck.
We were with like a pretty big crew. So it was Ryan Teeney, Torstein Horgmo, Aaron Hogue, Brandon Kelly, and myself. And he was fucked. Like, absolutely fucked. But when you're in the backcountry, you can only really see external injuries and what they're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
But his jaw was broken on both sides, so it was just hanging down like sideways.
Oh, man.
And
but he's conscious, so
he's conscious. He's so fucking tough.
Yeah.
He's the toughest motherfucker I've ever met in my life. Like, that's the only reason he's alive is because he's so tough. Like, he could have blacked out and bled out internally because he broke like a bunch, almost all the ribs on his left side, vertebrae, cracked his pelvis, his spleen exploded, and then his lung was just barely hanging on. I think that's why he lived as well, because it punctured when he was flying to the Whistler Hospital.
Yeah. And then they got him down to Vancouver right away. Right?
Yeah, but the shitty thing is, and this happened to me, I had a compound fracture in my leg, and it's funny because I was like, that's the worst day of my life. When I snapped my leg, like my bones came through my leg in the backcountry.
Yeah.
At the end of the year. I was on March 27th too, actually.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. And that was like 2 months after Mark broke his femur.
Right.
So that was the worst day of my life, right? But I learned search and rescue is volunteer in Whistler. So
Yep.
if you call them, it's going to be 2 hours. Right? Straight up. It's going to take 2 hours.
Yeah,
no
they got to round everybody up.
Yeah,
but
they're all volunteers and they do a wonderful job, but that's the reality. It takes a long time and it sucks because time is of the essence. So I knew that the second I ran down there, I got on the phone like, this is life or death, like blah, blah, blah. And we just didn't know what to do, you know? Like we did everything correctly and we did everything in our power, but you don't know the internal injuries, you know?
Right.
Because he's like vomiting black shit and like I'm trying to keep his airway clear and shit like that. And
did anyone kind of step up to be like, hey, you're too close? Like, because that's the thing. Like, if you're an ambulance person or whatever, they're not going to send you to your dad's house or your brother's house.
I was like there, and I think that it was good that I was there, you know? 'Cause,
obviously.
Yeah. And everybody worked insanely well. You know, everybody did everything they could.
So did you have like a satellite phone, one of those emergency
No, I did have
things?
a satellite phone, but we were actually in Rainbow, and it's like the closest you can be pretty much. So we had great cell service, and I thought with the cloud, sometimes the satellite service on the sat phone cuts in and out.
Right.
But the cell phone service there is better than the sat service. So I was like, let's use the cell phone.
Yeah. And so who do you call, 911?
You have to call 911 first and tell them it's a search and rescue issue, and they transfer you really quickly.
Holy shit.
And I like learned all this because of my injury, right? It's so funny how you look back on your life and you're like, that was the worst day of my life. You know, I thought I was bleeding so much when my leg broke, and I was like, I was like, just went to dark places and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was actually a blessing in disguise. It was like the best thing ever because it gave me so much knowledge to help my brother.
That's incredible.
And so
how long until he was out of the reeds? I remember feeling like it was touch and go for the first couple of days.
So this is the most fucked up part. I was like, just get him in the chopper. Like, just get him in the helicopter, and he's going to be going to Whistler. Because I don't know the internal injuries at this point. I'm like, hey, his jaw's fucked, his arm's fucked, and his back. He's complaining about his back. Because his humerus was shattered, too, right? Like, the biggest bone in your arm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all those injuries I know, but I don't know what's happening internally. So I'm like, just get him in the chopper. He'll be fine. Once he gets to Whistler Hospital, he'll be fine. You know, they'll be able to stabilize him and all that kind of stuff. So he gets in the heli. They get him out of there. The search and rescue team does a wonderful job. We get him on the spine board. He's gone. And I like breathe a sigh of relief, but I'm still like fucked up. Yeah. I like race down as fast as I can, get in my truck, go to the Whistler Hospital. And when you're in a hospital, it always sucks, but you can really tell the vibe by the nurses and doctors.
Totally.
And it's not good. His lungs collapsed at this point, and they're trying to do like scans, but they're like, holy fuck, no, we got to get the helivac. So they fly the helivac, land it, and then they get him like on life support to VGH.
Oh my God.
So I was like, it was so gnarly because I was so scared for so long and so much adrenaline. Then I get to the hospital. I'm like, it's going to be okay. And then I get more scared because it's like, nobody's giving me like he's going to be like, he's
nobody's giving you that thumbs up.
Yeah, he's going to live.
Yeah.
And there's none of that. It's like, no, it might not happen. And then he gets in the heli and gets to VGH, and I drive down that night, and yeah, it was
those drives, like, so like sledding out, driving down,
don't remember,
and then driving down. That's like impaired driving, right? Like
straight
that's,
up, yeah,
that's what happens.
It's impaired driving, absolutely, because your mind, you're not focused on anything.
You're just tripping.
I did though, especially on the one down to Vancouver. I did like the one from Rainbow to Whistler Hospital. I was impaired driving for sure.
Yeah.
The one from Whistler to Vancouver, I'm like, don't make the rescuer a victim now. You know,
slow down,
like you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a difference if you drive fast or slow.
Right.
So
I remember Jake flew out for that one, right?
Yeah, Jake did. And my parents came. My poor parents, like.
Yeah.
But the most fucked up part of the whole thing was his jaw's hanging there because both sides are broken, and he's like, my legs are fine. I can go to the Olympics.
He said that.
Oh yeah,
my
legs are fine.
In like not
lying is
death,
like death, like lying there, like is the most fucked up thing that's ever happened to me, and it still fucks me up so much, man.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that.
I appreciate it.
I could see in your eyes when you're thinking about it, like, can I go here?
Every time I talk about it, it makes it a little bit easier for sure.
Right,
but I don't like talking about it at all.
I don't blame you. That's like the scariest thing that could possibly happen. Yeah. It's almost worse. I mean, not almost, and I'm not talking from experience. I just know with my kids, like I broke my leg. Yes, it was dramatic. It was a femur. It was a it wasn't sticking out.
The artery or anything. Yeah.
Nothing. You know, like I knew I was going to be fine the whole time, but it was pretty dramatic. But my kid just like, you know, like hitting his head, falling something down. Like it's like the worst possible feeling that you have.
The most fucked up part for me is it's okay now. Like it's all good now. Like he
competed in the Olympics.
But I'll still wake up sometimes, and it was so close that you think it almost happened. You know?
Yeah. It's like the PTSD. That's exactly what it is. That's when JP Walker started talking about PTSD last year, I was like, A, bravo, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And B, oh my God, how many snowboarders have this? Like, so many, dude. Like, so many
It's
of
true,
the guys
actually,
that I talk to have had, like, the worst day of their life in the backcountry.
Yep. But
And,
the best thing you can do is talk about it, though, I think, And
I
that's
hope
why it's
so.
a real honor to
Yeah.
be on here and talk about it, and it sucks because I, like, didn't want to talk about it at all, but then if I have a tequila or two, then I can, like, I don't know, it takes a little edge off, and I can talk about it because I need to talk about it, and it's good, and it's good to talk about it.
If you get to the point where you don't want to put it in the show, I take it out. It's not a big deal.
Never.
But
I'm an open book, and thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, dude. That's intense.
Yeah.
So,
But it was just crazy, like, seeing him go through that, because as I mentioned, like, I compound fractured my tib fib in the backcountry, and like 2 months before, or a month and a half before that, Mark snapped his femur at Aaron Style.
Yeah,
like,
I remember seeing that. That was gnarly.
It was
Holy
so gnarly.
fuck, that was crazy gnarly.
It was so trippy
Those
too
things
because
felt back to back, even though they're like a year apart. It was like, he was badly hurt at Aaron Style, and then oh my God, he's badly hurt. Like,
so Mark, the craziest thing about that one too was I was in Edmonton actually filming a Tourism Alberta commercial of all things, and I'm flying back from Calgary, and the event started, and I talked to my mom. I was like texting my mom, and then I land because I shut my phone off on the plane, and I land, and I just get a text from my mom, and my dad and his farming buddy are at the event, like having so much fun. But then I just get a text from my mom, who's all by herself, bless her heart, like just everybody's gone, and she's by herself, and she's watching the online broadcast and sees that, and then she calls me, and she's like, she's tough, so she doesn't seem that bummed, but you can tell, obviously. Yeah. So she's like, that was super gnarly for our family to go through, and then I like compound fractured my leg, and I'm destroyed. But then me and Mark went through this recovery together, you know?
Right.
It was so beautiful because we got to hang out all the time and like go to the gym. You have somebody like, it's not just going to the gym and like working out. It's like going to the gym for like 2 hours and just like moving your ankle. You know, like it's so painfully boring.
It's lonely if you do it by yourself. Anyone who's rehabbed, it's like a lot of work and it's boring and it's lonely as fuck. So that's cool that you guys had that together.
So we got to do that together, and that pushed us. And like, just like snowboarding, you know, like if you have somebody you're doing with it that's like similar to you, you can push yourself, you know? And we pushed each other to get better and like be on it. And like, we have to go to the gym today. Like, we're going to put in a full 2 hours, you know? Yeah. So we did that. That got us through. And then when Mark did the gnarly one, I was just like, he's got the work ethic. He didn't hurt his legs, which is the hugest one. So he was like walking like 5 days after, like maybe for like 30 seconds, but like still walking. Because your muscles, you atrophy after like 3 days of absolute no use, you know? So the fact that he's walking was a huge benefit to his recovery and stuff like that. But then being there for the leg one and then knowing what he's capable of and then watching him, you know, tackle that beast.
It's so crazy. Yeah. It was crazy from an outsider's point of view seeing it. Yeah. I reached out to him on Insta. Like I sent him a direct message like, hey, you're in my town. You know, sending you good vibes kind of thing. Like, terrible what happened. Glad you're going to be okay. Because by the time it actually got out into the media, he had had surgeries and he was like giving the thumbs up. And you're going, what? How badly hurt? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And so that must have been pretty gratifying to watch him come back and then, you know, just build stronger again. Yeah.
Because he got a bronze and that was my favorite part about it was he was like, that's a goal to me. Like, I don't care who else is riding in this event. Like, I like did that and then I did this. You
He's
know?
so young to have gone through so much life experience.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Both of you guys.
Yeah, it's wild.
You guys are like kids.
I know.
Like when I told you my daughter's 19, it's like she is closer to your age by so much than I am. Like, you guys are like this new generation of like, I don't know. Mark's going to be a legend for that forever. That's crazy that he came back from that.
Well, just and anybody that comes back from an injury and then keeps doing what they're doing. Like, for me, mentally, I like blew my knee snowboarding at the launch.
Yep.
Like, had to get reconstruction on my knee, and that was like mentally so heavy. And then like the compound fracture on my knee, or my leg, pardon me.
That happened after? Like, you'd had knee surgery already?
Yeah. And then
other leg or?
No, same leg. That was the trippiest thing. Like, I was back there thinking for 2 hours, like somebody give me a snooze. Like, I'm just going to sit here. Like, hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
and I was so worried about my knee, but my knee wasn't messed up, so that was good. But when you go through those injuries, it's one thing to come back like physically, like you can go do all the tests and be like, yeah, you're good. But then mentally being able to like stand up at the top of a jump and be like, I'm going to charge, like I'm going to go straight, I'm going to chuck, and I don't know what's going to happen. You know,
you're looking at someone who didn't do that. In '95, I broke my femur, and I used that as a period on the end of a not career. Like I was like, okay,
don't say not career. You had a career. Don't say not career. You had a great career.
It was but it was.
I know what you're saying though. Yeah,
it was like, okay, that's like too hard for me to do, and I don't have that come back from it kind of attitude. I'm going to go in this other direction, have a family, and you know, build a career in another way, you know. And I mean, I saw a lot of people like Sansalone had a really bad injury. He was heli lifted off of the top of Mount Seymour with a punctured lung, broken rib, and then he came back. I remember being like, God damn it, dude. Like, that's a career ender. Yeah. No, not for him. You know, so some people just have that kind of, I'm coming back, I'm going to be stronger.
Yeah, it's where you're at in your life too, you know, I think too, a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everybody's got that comeback, you know? Everybody's got tenacity for sure. It just depends what happens and what you really want. I think.
Yeah, my comeback's going to be 25 years later. I'm like...
LBS, look out. If you don't give Eric a spot, I'm coming after you guys.
Yeah, I'm in, man. That's it.
I'm
going 100%. I'm going to train hard and do my best at that thing. It looks like a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, it looks crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't look as crazy now. Like, it looks like doable. It used to look like I couldn't do that. Like the Baker Road Gap.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at that road gap and be like, I'm never claiming I'll do the road gap. Never.
Never?
Oh God, no, never. That time has
Can we start
passed.
a GoFundMe or something like that? What's the amount of money for you to do the Baker Road Gap?
Oh, see, it's not a money thing because, whatever. A year's worth of salary, I'd do it.
Full pow.
I know I can do it.
I know you could do it. You go straight.
Yeah, you just go straight.
Done it your whole life.
Yeah, it's tough though that you got to milk every ounce of speed out of that thing.
That's true.
And then you got to come in. Have you done it?
No.
I don't know. I don't know any like close friends that have done it.
Yeah.
It just looks so gnarly. But I will claim that I will do the LBS.
Good.
It looks like I will do that.
Okay.
Like that's
good.
something I'm like, I can do it.
Good.
I can do that.
Absolutely, you can.
And then when I win that, then I'll just go straight to the road gap and just, I don't know.
Same day?
Same day.
Okay.
Yeah, back one it or something.
Absolutely, I'm down. I'm down. I'm filming.
I just claimed the Baker Road Gap. That's not true.
No, it's okay. Well, no, if you win the LBS, you will be on such cloud nine that that'll seem like a piece of cake.
Yeah, it was a trip to see. So the first guy who ever did the Baker Road Gap was Sean Farmer.
Sean Farmer was the first one to ever do it. I did not know that.
He did it in '89, I believe, or '88. He did it in Totally Board 1, which is the TB series before it was TB.
Yeah.
He did it with his shirt off the first time.
As is tradition.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's nuts. He does a big method over it on like a board that shouldn't make it over that gap. And I was up riding with him at Mount Baker.
Yeah.
And there was another guy up there who was crazy. I don't even know why I'm telling the story. Sean wanted his picture with that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
so Sean was like and there's like a pro there.
Yeah, no. This is like a couple years ago. Sean is like the OG jump the road gap.
Yeah.
And this other guy's like,
oh, okay, yeah. I'm
the
sorry.
other guy's like,
apologies.
I'm a local legend around here, you know, like I dropped some big shit.
Yeah.
And Sean's like, fuck, I should have got my picture with that guy. And I'm like, he should have got his picture with you.
Yeah,
dude.
Let's put this in reverse here. Really quick,
he doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyways, yeah. So, all right, we've gotten over the injury, and then Mark comes back and wins bronze, and obviously everyone in the whole family is like fucking pumped.
Yeah.
Burton's pumped.
Yeah.
Sponsors are pumped.
Yeah.
You're pumped. Was there ever any point that you were like, dude, maybe like take it easy, take a year off?
No, because all the injuries that we've had are just like flukes. Like, it's something you have to deal with. Like, we're good snowboarders, straight up. You know, I'm usually in control. Mark's usually in control. But you're doing something that's kind of gnarly, and there's going to be a risk factor. Every single thing you do, there's a risk factor, and it's usually a pretty low percentage, but sometimes the roulette wheel falls on that number and you're going to have to take your lick, you know? Mark's taken a bunch of licks, I've taken a bunch of licks, and that's the way life goes. But that shouldn't stop you from doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
If we were getting hurt every single time,
right,
there'd be an issue, you know? Right, but if 1 in 10,000 jumps you get smoked, that's odds I'm willing to take.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so who on the Burton team are your, like, who do you get to ride with? Like, you get to go to session with Danny Davis, you get to go ride with Terrier from time to time, or they're...
I'm not like on the Burton team, so I don't get to ride with them that much, you know, but I'm friends with all of them. So it's a real honor.
Yeah.
Just to even know them.
Sure.
That's the trippiest thing. We watched all these videos so much, and you look up to these people and you meet them in real life, and it's still to this day, you know, I've met them a million times, but I'm like, that's fucking Danny Davis right there. You know?
Yeah, that dude seems super fucking cool, man.
So cool, you know? And everybody in the snowboarding industry is really, really cool. And it's always an honor to meet everybody all the time. And it's cool to talk to the guys above you. And I've started to really enjoy talking to kids below me. Sure. You know? Because you're meeting really rad individuals that have the same story, and you can see a little bit of yourself in them. Yeah. Like on the come up and stuff like that. Absolutely. So I really, really like riding with those dudes, but at the same time, I love riding with new kids who are super hungry and pushing it. And
what would you say to those kids?
Just keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it. Yeah. Like, you're absolutely killing it. So much harder than so many people. You know, you're trying every single day. They want to snowboard. They still love snowboarding so much. Right. And that's who I want to be with. That's who I want to ride with. Somebody that's stoked to go snowboarding, as opposed to somebody who's like, I have to go snowboarding.
What about like a Shaun White? Have you ever rip laps with the guy? Is he a fun guy to ride with?
I've never ridden with Shaun White. I've met him for sure, but Mark has a pretty good relationship with him, but I don't think we've ever rode together. No. Yeah,
I don't hear a lot about him like kind of interacting with people in just a regular snowboarder kind of way. He seems to be on his own, just on his own. Planet, snowboard planet or something.
Yeah, people talk a lot of shit on Shaun White, you know? You've seen it. I've
heard it.
Yeah, you've heard it. But I was always just like, he is living such a different life than you or I, you know? Like, how could we judge his decisions that he's making? Because we're not him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got like a team of people, and he's done so much stuff, and he's worth so much, you know.
He's a good skateboarder. Yeah, he's like an incredible skateboarder. He's an incredible snowboarder. Like I like to
believe that he's making decisions because of stuff that he knows that maybe I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I hope is happening. Right. And I assume that is happening.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a diverse team, Burton. I guess I heard Sean's not on it anymore.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. Yeah, you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Or you heard it here second if you heard it somewhere else first.
But this one matters more.
Yeah, sure. No, I think he's jumped ship, and I imagine his time's just up, you know what I mean?
That's the other thing. Like, he has been doing this. Do you remember... Is it SSX? No, it's Cool Borders. Cool Borders was a video game.
Yeah, I remember.
And he was like 12 years old, and he was a character in it.
Yeah, man.
That was like 22 years ago, or what?
Totally.
Yeah.
I remember him being in videos in like the TV series. Yeah. And he was like a little kid. I remember hearing he had to wear a helmet if he was going to go upside down.
Yeah,
he'd have that big floppy helmet on. And you could tell he was going to be good. Yeah. I've watched his whole career being like, I like this kid. He's got like good style.
Imagine being the man for 22 years.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Like, how do you relate to somebody who doesn't even understand a year of the life that you've lived? Right. That's what I always think too. Like, you can't fault somebody because of the way that they are.
There's guys like,
you're forced, you know?
Yeah. There's guys like Kelly Slater, and there's guys like Jerry Lopez who, like, maybe he's not the man competitively, but still makes the most beautiful surfing turns in the world. Yeah. And is as cool as fuck. Like, every single person that ever meets that guy.
Very good point. That's right, the host. Thank you.
I think that's what Terrier said, and I don't want to shit on Sean ever, but I think he had a really big opportunity to like help snowboarding in a way and give something back. But I don't fault him for being busy winning everything. I don't like it can't be easy to fucking win all the time.
I'm going to go down a little interesting path here.
Yeah.
Kelly's from Florida, right? Like really shitty waves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
I feel like he's got that prairie kid mentality a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it's, even though he's surfed the best waves in the entire world for years and years and years and years and years, he still has that, like, I want to do this. I want to be the best. Like, I want to, like, you know what I'm saying? A little bit. No. Sean's from California.
Yeah.
Has had access to everything forever.
Yeah. Yes.
It kind of comes back to that, what we talked about, you know, a little bit. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe I'm a...
Could be, man.
I don't know.
It could be. Like, it takes all personality types, and not everybody has it in them to be nice to the public all the time or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, not that Sean... I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
I just know...
But you're allowed to talk about what you perceive. You're allowed to have your own opinion, you know?
Sure.
Like, for sure. You can say whatever you want.
There was a point when there was a Shaun White movie that came out where he started doing a lot of, like, in-resort freestyle stuff. Remember
The White Album.
The White Album. And remember, like, they set up these giant jibs for him, and his
Snow
style
Park, New
was
Zealand.
good, and...
I watched that movie more like probably a million times.
I was like, this is the start of a new thing for him.
Do you remember the soundtrack in that too?
It was so good, man. Yeah.
But I know exactly what you're saying. This was the start for him.
I was like, this kid's unstoppable. And then it kind of fell off. He kind of just turned into this like competitive half-pipe kid that I was like, well, that's not as exciting for me.
The other thing too, I think, is you need people around you that ground you. A little bit. You need people around you that will be like, yo, that's whack.
Right.
What are you doing? Why are you treating this person this way? And I feel like maybe he just didn't have, he had a lot of yes men around him for a long time.
Yeah, that can be a trap for sure, right?
Such a trap.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you look at it, like I said, when I met Travis, I was like, oh, this guy's he's doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Nobody comes away from an interaction with Travis Rice and says, that guy was a real douche. He was awesome.
He's the nicest person to every single person he meets.
Yeah.
Gives you your full attention, looks you in the eye, shakes your hand strong. Like that,
yeah.
I respect him.
Yeah.
Bar none.
So yeah, we've got a lot of great people in the industry, and a lot of
very
people
eclectic
at the top
group.
Yeah, we've got an eclectic group, and it's the same with Jake versus a guy like Mike Olson or Pete Sari. Like they've been in it for a really long time. There's guys that were in it at that same time too, like Chuck Barfoot, that he's still doing his thing too. Mm-hmm. And those guys, some guys make a bunch of money, some guys make no money, and some guys make a medium amount of money.
Yeah.
Or become construction workers or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so cool to meet somebody that's been at the top of the game, or that's there right now. I mean, you're competing in the real X Games. That's insane.
Yeah, it's trippy. It's funny because when I was doing the commentating thing, I was like, I really want to have a foot in competitive snowboarding. Like, I care about this. I know a bunch of people. I still want to be relevant in that world of snowboarding, especially because if you look at snowboarding, it's so small. You want to be in everything. You know, like I respect a lot of people in the competition scene. Pardon me. So I want to be in that, but then I really care about filming. I really want to be in that. So I really want to be in both. And the competing or the commentating and the filming side has given me the ability to do both. So it's like, it's a real honor.
Let's talk about that film. When did you start making We Tried?
Oh, We Tried it started not the start of this winter, but the last. I think that would be like 2017, 2018 winter.
Right.
I went out and I helped Anto film for his real snow of that year.
Right.
And Anto's crazy. Straight up, he's crazy. He wants to find the biggest thing, wants to ride the gnarliest thing, and that's what he's about. You know, he's got every tool in the shed. He's so he's a firefighter, so he knows everything about everything. He's really smart. So it's really good to be with him. But I started filming with him, and I met Sam Sosnowski, who was filming his real snow, and I was like, I love this dude so much. He's got great editing style, great work ethic. I want him to make my project. Because I didn't really have a project that year, and I was like, well, why don't we just, do my own thing, maybe a short film, put it on the internet, see if people like it. And that's what we did. And then, that's kind of the way it went. And
that takes a lot of effort, though. So do you go out and get sponsors to so that you've got like a bankroll to do some trips and to film with certain people, or?
That exactly at the start of this interview, I was just like, Lululemon, Oakley Snowboarding, and Red Bull.
So you go to
great
them
relationship
and say,
with all of them, and I'm just like, hey guys, I just want to make my short little film. And they're like, yes, for sure.
Rad.
Super small budget, just go on trips with people I'm with. We did a big shoot with Red Bull when, I don't know if you ever watched that video when Mark did that front blunt, like double cork off a up rail. And
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Of
And
course.
we got to ride this really, really rad park made by Charles Beckinsale. Probably one of the best park shapers in the entire world there's
Sick.
ever been. Yeah. So he builds this park. We hit this huge hit. We get to do all this kind of stuff. So that's a park segment. And I was sledding with Mark Solers, Mikey Renz, and Aaron Leyland.
Yep.
Just absolute beauties.
Love those guys.
You want to sled with those guys because they know everything. They're so smart. They've spent so much time out there. Like, I learned more in that 2 months I sledded with them than I've ever learned in my entire snowboard career.
Rad.
So I got to sled with them. I got to shoot park with Mark and the Rebel guys, and then I got to film with Anto, and all that together. I was like, this is the perfect short film.
That's epic.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked it, and Sam did a good job editing it. So
what's the vibe like when you're in that Red Bull space
for the park shoot?
Just like is it helicopters filming helicopters kind of thing, or is it like?
It's different. Red Bull's a little bit different now. It's the same with everything. Everything's different now. Snowboarding was huge for a while.
Yeah.
There was a lot of money in snowboarding.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not that much money. There's money in snowboarding, but there's not that much money in snowboarding. You have to like be really cognizant of what you're doing and stuff like that. It's not just like you can just go to the company and be like, hey, can I have this much money? And they're like, for sure.
Yeah.
No, you have to be like, it's minuscule amounts of money compared to other film shoots and stuff like that. But I'm really thankful for everything that I've gotten from all of my sponsors. But it's just definitely different now.
Yeah. Because I noticed when Red Bull took over the Grouse Park and they did an edit with your brother, he got to pick.
Oh, we did the film Uncorked.
Uncorked.
It was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
The Uncorked project, it was there, but we kind of got screwed with weather a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, because it was short, but it was also like at Grouse. So, like, no offense to Grouse, but you've only got like a short little pitch that you get to work with.
Yeah.
And the feature, I remember looking at the feature, going, that's like creative and fun. There's like a bunch of stuff they can do off it. And the edit was short, but it had to be short. Like, you couldn't have filmed 20 minutes on that.
Exactly. It was supposed to be essentially taking away from the crazy competitive, like we had Seb Toots there, we had Mark, we had really big slopestyle riders there.
Yeah.
And they wanted to not be just a chuck fest. Like, let's not just build a big jump. They wanted to make
something
something
fun.
weird and something new and something cool and creative.
Yeah.
And that idea was there. I don't think we had enough time on it.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. Like, we didn't have enough time to really expose this kind of thing. And when you're building,
it was weather though.
It was weather.
There.
Yeah.
That's my home mountain.
Yeah,
And I watched that stuff.
Yeah.
You had a couple of days in the sun, maybe only one.
We had one day in the sun,
and then it snowed on top of it. So it's either like rebuild the whole thing. It didn't look as crisp anymore, and then it just got warm, and and then it rained.
Yeah.
So it was over.
And that's the hardest thing about that. When you go to a park shoot, you ride it once or twice. Yeah. And then you have to change everything. Like, you got to be like, okay, this looks really good, but we need the transition a little bit longer and stuff like that. And we just didn't get to like change and like really make it exciting.
Got it.
It's still a great piece, and I'm proud of it.
I love
and
it.
Stuff like that, but
I had nothing bad to say about it. I thought it was awesome.
It could have been a little bit better though.
Yeah, but that's like.
I mean, that's just me being critical, maybe, but we'll see.
That's a Red Bull project, right? Like, I was looking, going, wow, they really made that look amazing, and like it really. Like for me, watching you guys ride at our home mountain.
I love Grouse, though.
It's dope.
It is so fun.
Yeah, it's a fun place, man. It's really fun. It's definitely one of those. We're blessed in Vancouver that we've got these 3 amazing mountains with totally different vibes, totally different terrain, and lots of variety. And it's not super expensive.
That's the thing. It's really cheap, and I really like how you mentioned different vibes. It's like going to different worlds. Totally. At every single one you go to.
Totally. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So your home mountain's here, but like you traveled a lot this year.
Yeah.
What was it for another project, or it was for the?
So X Games Real Snow, I did almost like a month in total in Quebec filming with Anto. And that was the other crazy thing. Like, I'm competing against Anto in X Games Real Snow, but we work so well together. Yeah. Like, we're patient, and we've filmed with each other for a very long time. So you kind of know when to step in, when to step out, what the other guy wants, what they're looking for, all that kind of stuff. So I think that we are a great team, Cool. And at the end of the day, the beautiful thing about this competition is you're not really competing against the other people. you're just trying to film the best video part you can, you know?
Yeah,
and if
totally.
Anto is going to help me film the best video part and I'm going to help Anto film the best video part, then it makes sense for us to film together.
What about spots? Like, you can't be at the same exact spot.
No,
so how do you pick
that was
who
crazy.
gets the spot?
I mean, when I landed, he knew every spot he wanted to hit and every trick he wanted to do already, you know? And I was just like, that's yours, man. You found it. Like, straight up. It was just kind of like, you ride this day, I ride this day. You ride this day, I ride this day. And we're going to help each other on the days that we're not riding, you know?
Rad.
So it was really cool to work with him.
Yeah.
And so I filmed that for a month, you know, and then I called X Games and I called another event for CBC in that time. And I did a Skidoo shoot. So I was just doing a bunch of stuff and then also filming that. And then we have this kind of like video series coming out with Red Bull.
Right.
And essentially it's us, pretty much everything we talked about, looking up to snowboarders that we really looked up to in videos. The first trip we went on was to Finland with Eero Edela.
Sick.
Yeah, so we got to ride all these spots that we watched in MacDog movies.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's like, if you're a snowboard nerd, I think you're really going to enjoy it because we really looked up to Eero and we really looked at all these spots and we actually get to go to Finland and ride with him at these spots.
Unreal.
Talk about the tricks he did, do all this kind of stuff. The next one we went to Alaska with Travis. Just got back from that trip.
Holy shit.
Very trippy. And then we're going to go to Aspen and ride with people that maybe, I don't know, this is not the right way to say it, but maybe like looked up to me and Mark when we were riding park and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you're flipping it.
Yeah, a
flipping
little
the
bit,
script
right?
There.
Yeah, so
you're
that'll
the
be cool.
guys at on this one.
Yeah.
I've been watching footage of Chad Otterstrom a lot this year in Colorado, and that dude is crushing. Of all the Insta stuff that's coming from pros from that era.
Yeah.
He's beyond.
He's
dude.
incredible. I don't understand how he's still doing what he does.
If you go back and watch his parts, man, he was always that good.
That's true.
He's just like a beast.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that
frozen in time,
and he's still fucking killing it.
Yeah.
I look up to that the most of everybody.
Yeah.
I look up to people that are still out there. He's riding every day. It's so crazy to me.
That's what I admire the most too, is people that love snowboarding every single day.
Yeah.
You know, like they really care about it. Like Chad cares about snowboarding so much and he wants to ride every single day. And like, those are the people you should surround yourself with.
Totally. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got it, dude.
Perfect.
How do you feel?
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me up into your house,
Dude,
man.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of the podcast and it's an honor to be on.
Thanks, dude. All right. Thanks so much to Craig McMorris for doing the show. FNRad shoutouts to Anson Trites this week, a great friend and a riding buddy for me since 1993. Got to ride with Anson on Sunday because he got me out of bed and said, there's POW up there, let's go. And it was a great day. So thanks, Anson. Extra special thanks to Rob Dow and Wired for the chance to ride that 158 Carbon Nightmare. That was fun. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of the FNRad Snowboard Podcast, brought to you by SIA Productions.